Welcome in, everybody, for the good of all Cree.
For the good of all crew.
Good to have everybody here. We are here for a pun-filled episode. Yes, that's just what you get at the Jungle Cruise. Actually, it's going to be a really fun episode tonight of Disney Movie Review. We are back, and again, this is our new day. Time is probably going to be right around 5 o'clock for Disney Movie Review. And I'm so happy to be back. We love doing these. And before we even get started, there's my buddy over there, my partner channel, Disney Dan, everybody. Dan, what's up, buddy? Good to see you.
So good to see everyone. Firstly, I need to apologize for my voice. Like the hay fever here, it's so bad. I feel like I'm going more towards Darth Vader sort of sound rather than, I don't know, squeaky, goofy sound. Well, so yeah, but good to see everybody. I hope everyone's doing well. I can't wait to review this film, the film called The Mummy. No, not The Mummy, Jungle Cruise. Jungle Cruise. Because there's a lot, when I watched this film, there was a lot of similarities between this and The Mummy. So, there you go.
Wait. No, I didn't mean to do that. I'm trying to change it.
Wow, we're off to a great start today.
Wait a minute. I forgot to change it. Let me do that now. There. And yes, Disney Movie Review, Jungle Cruise. That's what I meant to say. Anyway, welcome in, everybody. We're glad to have you all here. Let's do some quick mousekeeping before we get started. Then we'll say hi to everybody in the chat, and then we'll get rolling. Of course, Dean over at The Live Place. Check him out, theliveplace.com for family-friendly streams. 24/7, he's over there, and be sure to check him out. It's not all Disney, but it is all family-friendly. So check out Dean. 4 partner channels. This guy right over here, Disney Dan, Saturdays with the new Disney Fight show sometimes, but most of the time right here with me for Disney Movie Review on Thursdays. Yep. Check out Steve's World on Monday nights with Just Another Monday Night. This is Our Dream on Thursdays. I think they're actually going live really, really soon. And Saturdays and Sundays. And, of course, Pete McDevitt, who is always live. So you can always see Pete. And I want to say thank you to all of our members. Membership, thank you for your extra generosity and loyalty to the channel. If you're not a member and you're considering it, we do buttons, we do postcards, we have magnets now for a certain tier. We do T-shirts depending upon your tier, members-only live streams. We have a live stream coming up. So there are perks to being a member, and it helps us keep the channel running. So thank you to our members. And now, Daniel, let's say hi to everybody in the chat because we got a few people in here. We have Wendy Luhu, one of our members. Wendy, a good friend. Good to see Wendy. Kevin R., Noel Ash, Sarah Bush, Jeannie52573, Emily LSU Mom is here. Did I say Sarah Bush? I did. I just want to make sure. Nathan Rita, Craig's Robotics, Alexander Lee, Victor's here. Victor Falls is here. Kelsey Elizabeth, another member. Joanne Puzzles, another member. Megan is here as well. And I think we are up to date at the moment.
Yeah, good to see everyone.
Good to see everybody. Stephanie Danielle is also here. Good to see you, Stephanie. Thanks for being here. All right. So, Dan, let's talk about this. Disney Movie Review, The Jungle Cruise, 2021. Dwayne Johnson, Emily Blunt. So, say what you want. I know Steve hates Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson. He's an A-list movie star right now. He is. He's an A-lister. He's getting the big movies. He really is. Emily Blunt, I think she speaks for herself. We've seen what she's done over the years. Very good job with a lot of what she's done.
Yeah.
Always reliable, for sure. This movie is obviously a take on the ride, the Jungle Cruise ride at Disneyland, Disney World, and all around the world. Before we even get started, we've seen how some of these rides and attractions, when they take it from the parks and try to make them into movies, they're not always great. They can slip from time to time.
Always. They've always been awful.
Well, yeah, I guess you're right. But is that going to be the case with this one? We'll see. We're going to talk about it. Because you're right. Tomorrowland wasn't the best. Haunted Mansion, I thought was terrible. I was so disappointed in that.
There's one that's even worse than the Haunted Mansion.
Which one is that? Which one am I missing?
The Country Bears movie.
Oh, yes. The Country Bears.
Which is in the box, by the way.
Yeah, it's in there. We just haven't had good success with any of these attraction theme park things going to movies yet. But is it going to stay the same with the Jungle Cruise, or do we maybe hit a home run with this one, or at least maybe get a base hit? I don't know. We're going to find out. But Dan, let's talk about it.
That was a baseball reference.
That was a baseball reference. Yes,
got it. I know it.
or are we going to get a
kind of
goal?
knew. I was just
Not that.
playing the stereotypical British don't know anything about American sport.
Well, you did very good. But let's we'll roll right into this. Again, 2021 is when the movie came out.
Pirates was the only good ride.
Absolutely. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Thanks to Matt Simbatu for showing that.
Hey, Matt, you're right. No, I forgot about Pirates, which I can't believe I forgot it. It's absolutely a home run. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It was really kind of the one that started it because Pirates was first. Haunted Mansion followed. Tomorrowland followed all them. If Pirates had failed, I don't know that we would have gone back. But because Pirates was such a smash hit, they kind of kept going with these.
That's why they inspired films like The Prince of Persia, which we reviewed. It's almost like an inspiration to this film. Like, live action films can be good. So because we've seen that in Pirates, and we've got a massive franchise. So why don't we do something similar with the Jungle Cruise? Bringing Dwayne Johnson being the biggest movie star in the current era, Emily Blunt, who is incredibly reliable. You forgot to mention Emily Blunt's co-star, whose character's brother is starring Jack Whitehall, who is a huge British comedian. Like, he is one of the biggest British comedians, Jack Whitehall, who plays McGregor.
Yeah, McGregor, the brother.
Yeah, and I've loved him in lots of different sort of TV shows in Britain, and
absolutely,
and he's really really good. So
and what's his name? Another reliable star had a very small part.
Edgar Ramirez,
Paul Giamatti. Paul Giamatti's in the movie as well. So there's some stars in this. I gotta say hi to Jack Sandy Claus Logan. What's up, Matt? Good to see you. Samantha Lowe is here. Hey, Sam. Good to see you. Karen Cook is also here. Karen and Matt are also members. Thank you, gang, for that as well. All right, Dan, let's get into this. So as anything else, this movie kind of starts with a backstory. We kind of go back in time to the 1500s.
Exposition.
An expedition, the Crusaders or a Spanish expedition, I think. I think they're Spaniards.
Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah. But they are looking for what's called the Tree of Life, or what did they call it? I can't remember what it was.
You watched it literally like an hour ago.
No, it wasn't an hour ago. It was this morning. I had the day off. I can't remember that, but I know it's the Tree of Life. But they're looking for the Tears of the Sun or something like that.
Yeah, Tears of the Moon.
Tears of the Moon. Yes, and what they basically do is the Tears of the Moon can heal you. It heals people that are sick, hurt, things like that. I don't know that it necessarily brings people back to life, but it may. I don't really know that they got into that much, but it's something that can heal you. And there's all these people that have gone on these expeditions to try and find the Tears of the Moon and the Tree of Life, where you can get that from. So they talk about this Spaniard that goes back in the 1500s to try to get it, and he was kind of cursed, and for all eternity didn't really die, but was there and cursed because he tried to steal it.
And this plot line has been used so much in movie history.
Like, sure.
The Mummy, Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, a guy tries to steal something and then he was cursed. Like, Barbossa or the Mummy.
Well, the thing about it's something I said to my son a long time ago. Just to get off track for a second, I said, you go back to the 60s and 70s, you maybe got 25 movies a year. You really didn't there weren't a ton of movies made.
Yeah.
There were movies made. Now there are hundreds of movies made a year. Hundreds. Storylines are going to start to become hard to come by that are new and original. So I get it. These stories have been told 1,000 times. They have. But it's how it's told differently that makes them unique in some way.
Yeah. That's
what the directors and the screenplay writers, they have to try to find that magic, so to speak, to make this movie work. But that's basically what it was. Back in the 1500s, these three men get cursed, and for all eternity, because they tried to steal the Tears of the Moon for themselves. Because the one main Spanish guy, his daughter was dying, and he wanted to try to find this to save her. So ultimately, his original intentions were good. He kind of wanted to save his daughter. But he didn't. He got impatient and tried to steal it, and actually kind of murdered some people to get it. And that's kind of jumping around a little bit, but I want to give you the pretext of what this entire film is about. Now we jump ahead to 1916. Now we're right smack dab in the middle of World War I. Okay? World War I ran from, I think, 1914 to 1918, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was right around that time. You had the Germans,
Austrians,
the Austrian Empire, the German Empire, and on the bad guy side, as I'll call it. And we all, the British and the Americans, and even the Russians at that time, were on our side. Yep. We're on the good guy side, yep, so to speak. You know, the Ottoman Empire, I think, is also on the bad guy side. I keep pointing to you, Dan, but you're not the bad guy. But you know what I mean.
Look,
I'll go this way.
I'm a bad guy, but that doesn't make me a bad guy.
Right? That's a reference for those that don't know.
By the way, we use that reference a lot on this show.
I'm a bad guy, but that doesn't make me a bad guy. Anyway. But that's, so we jump ahead to 1916, and that's kind of where Emily Blunt is. She's this, I don't even know what her job is. She's an explorer, but she's really just trying to find the tears of the moon so that she can take it back and save people. That's really all she wants to do. She wants to help people. She wants to help those that are hurt, in pain. And she wants to go on this expedition to find it. And we start out in, I think it's London. And you know, her brother is giving this speech. Remember, this is 1916, so you know how women are treated back in 1916. They're not considered equal to men back in that day. Sorry, ladies, that's just how it was. Doesn't mean it was right, but that's how it was. And so her brother is up on stage giving this speech that she wrote, right? And he's trying to distract her ultimately so she can get in, because in this facility, it's like a museum, I guess, or this, what are they, like some kind of like club or something?
Archive. It's like an archive.
Yeah. She's trying to steal this arrow that is going to help them find the path to where the tears of the moon and the tree of life are. Yeah. So that's kind of how the movie starts. They don't really give us a ton of background as to how she knew where it was, who she is with her brother, why she's so interested, other than the fact that she wants to help people. So we don't get a ton of backstory on them. And then and this is where we kind of get into a nice little fun little fight scene, I guess you can call it, in this archived area when she's trying to get this arrow. This, I don't know, you think it's made of rock, but it's really not. Did somebody else come in? Hello, lost my signal. Sorry. Hey, welcome in, Wendy. Good to see you. Dan, jump in when you want. But yeah, I think this part here with her, with the trying to steal it, and then the German,
it's quite clever. Yeah,
I thought so.
Yeah. So Emily Blunt's character, her name was Lily. She was trying to steal this arrowhead. She knew exactly where it was in this big sort of crest, this big box. Was able to steal it very, very well. And she kind of bumped shoulders with Prince Joachim. He's like this German leader who you clearly tell is going to be the bad guy, because, you know, during that time, you know, if you came across a German in London during 1914, I don't know how I can buy that, because why would there be someone like that who is an aristocratic German who was on the opposing side of the war in London when there was
because he's looking for something. That's why. You're right. He wouldn't
why
be
would
there.
He be in the country? But why would he wouldn't be probably allowed in the country when you've got a big red bus full of British army soldiers outside?
Here's how I take that. He's obviously some sort of military strategist. Getting in and out of countries, I don't think is going to be the hardest thing for him. And it's not like today's security where it's almost impossible. Back then, I'm sure getting in and out was probably a little bit easier than what it is today. And I don't think he was necessarily, dumb. I'm sure he knew what he was doing. Yeah. So I kind of threw that out the door because I was thinking, okay, I get it. They can get in and out when they have to. Welcome in, Trish. Let's go wait in line with Trish. I was just talking about you offline, talking about your streams in Disneyland. Trish, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. You guys are looking for a great channel for Disneyland streams. Trish does great.
I'm a Trish also newbie.
A member. Trish newbie right there.
I'm a Trish newbie.
But I did like the interaction between her and the German guy because even though he only saw her for a minute, he came across. I like bad guys. I really do like him, and he is a bad guy. He really is. I like those ones that are like the ones you love to hate, and he was like that for me. I really wanted to see him lose, but so she's fighting off all the people, and it's a fun little scene with a little bit of action, a lot of wit, and a lot of humor. And she does ultimately get away.
Yeah.
But the German guy, he's like, this is where I think you can tell he's really bad. The one guy says his name, and he's like, you said my name. And he kills everybody in the room. Like, doesn't even think twice about it. He just turns around and
sort of like there needed to be a scene to show that he was that bad.
Right.
And there's no sort of backstory of why he doesn't like that name.
Well, he doesn't he doesn't want people to know him. I think that's the point. I think he's supposed to. It's one of those things you can't say if you say my name, it's one of those things. If I tell you I have to kill you, it's one of those things. If you tell him my name, I can't have any no witnesses kind of thing. No witnesses. That's how I saw it.
Yeah.
Debbie Bernfeld, welcome in. Good to see you.
Hey.
And Lisa, welcome in. Lisa Sapias,
Lisa.
welcome in. Good to see. It is good to see Dan.
And Mandy Adams.
And Mandy Adams is also here. Good to have all of you here. So at this point, we have been introduced to her brother.
Yep.
We've been introduced to Emily Blunt.
Yep.
And now this is where we're going to kind of jump ahead. They are starting to search for the Tears of the Moon, which takes them to Brazil. South America. Isn't that South America? I'm not very good with geography. Yep. Okay, South. It's not Central America. It's South America.
It's South America.
It's South America, right? It's the biggest country, I think, in South America, is it not?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're not that bad at geography.
I know a little bit. Anyway, so we jump. She gets to Brazil in this little town, which I don't remember the name of, and we go away from them, and then we get to the part. I thought this part was great. I really did.
For me, honestly, this is the best part of the movie.
So we get to the part where we finally get to meet the skipper, Dwayne Johnson's character, on his jungle cruise. And this is where the rubber meets the road for me. This is just the best part. Let me say hi to Will real fast. Will Ovens, welcome in, buddy. Good to see you. And also, I got to say hi to Noel Ash as well. I'll let Dan. I actually really enjoyed this part. Go ahead.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Dwayne Johnson, the charismatic person that he is, if you put him on the Jungle Cruise attraction, he would do such an amazing job, because this is literally the next 2 minutes in the film is an introduction to the Jungle Cruise movie, but it's an introduction of exactly what the Jungle Cruise ride is. And he literally has these guests that he has, these terrified guests on his boat, which is pretty much it's not a great boat. And he's literally doing the Jungle Cruise spiel. Like he's got all the animatronics. He's got the people who work for Trader Sam. Just like, go, don't worry. Yeah. And it's
he does the rock. That's one of my favorite rocks. It's one I never take it for granted. It's one of my boulder attractions.
It's like, this is the best part of the cruise, the star-studded attraction. And you see these pipes go through the forest, and it goes the back side of water.
Yeah, and he goes, it's
and she goes, it's just the same as the front side.
Yeah, it's actually really, really done well. Bowser Jr., welcome in. Good to see you.
He would do so well, if he did the actual skipper job at Disneyland or Disney World or whatever it was.
It was really well. They really gave us a lot of nods to the actual Jungle Cruise, which I thought was fantastic. I liked. He does one later, and another one of the puns I thought was absolutely fantastic. It's kind of mean, but not mean. When he says to the brother when they're on the cruise ship, when they're on the cruise, and he goes, "Yeah, I used to date this girl that was cross-eyed. We broke up. We never saw eye to eye." And then he goes, "But to be honest, I think she was seeing someone on the side."
See, here's the thing, folks. He
goes, I can't turn it off.
This film is absolutely perfect for Walt, because this is like dad joke galore. You got to understand, Walt doesn't do any other form of joke apart from dad jokes. So when you hear Jungle Cruise and movie next to each other. That's him done. That's it.
But it's also the delivery. He actually delivers them really, really well. He does a good job with the delivery, and because that means a lot. It really is. So anyway, he takes his people on this cruise, and that's kind of how he makes his living. He takes people down the cruise, and all the people that are like the natives that are trying to kill him and all that. They're all part of the act. The people don't know this; they think it's real, but it's actually part of the act. And that's how he makes his money. And he does. He makes a good living. Cy, welcome in. Cy. What's up, Cy? Good to see you, dear. Hope you're doing well. So he gets back from his last cruise and he goes inside. And this is where Paul Giamatti's character kind of comes in.
Yeah.
Frank owes me money. That's what his parrot says anyway.
Frank owes me money.
But anyway, he owns all the boats in this little town except Dwayne Johnson's boat. And he wants to own that one too. Well, he kind of does because Dwayne Johnson owes him money. So he owes him money and it comes to collect, and Dwayne Johnson doesn't have all of it. So he takes his engine, and he doesn't have a boat now because he doesn't have an engine. And that's when Emily Blunt and her brother show up, and they're trying to get a boat to take them down the jungle so that they can find what they're looking for. They've got a map and everything. Go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah. So, McGregor doesn't really want to be there. He's just following his sister around.
Prim and proper, very prim and proper, dresses to the nines and everything.
A bit over the top. Like, I just want to remind everybody here, because the majority of our audience is mainly non-British. I mean, we have some British, like we have Cy and Wendy, but not every person, especially not every man during comes across like McGregor. Like, I do not come across like McGregor at all in any way.
I liked his character. Sarah says that his character, she wanted to strangle him. I thought he was funny. I did. I liked the fact that we had a fish out of water character in this.
If you want to watch a great performance from Jack Whitehall, the actor, there's a short TV show called Bad Education, and he's basically a teacher, and it's very like dark, like humor, like funny British humor, and that was one of his best roles I think he's done in that. So this is a very light side for Jack Whitehall, the actor.
Good. Tracy Holly welcome in. She says she saw this movie. That's awesome. Hang with us, gang, because you guys are going to have a part in this in a little bit. We're going to be doing our grading at the end of this, and we want your grades as well. Not yet, though. Let us get through the story and give our grades, but I do want to hear from you guys in the chat, so hang with us. So, Dan, I want to go back to this. So, again, he's lost his boat now. He needs to try to get it back, and he has to basically steal the key so he can get his engine and get up and running again. But Paul Giamatti's character took it and put it in his office. Well, Emily Blunt is looking for Paul Giamatti's character. I can't remember his name.
Nilo?
Nilo. I think it's Nilo. She's looking for Nilo. Yeah, I think it's Nilo. She's looking for him. Nilo. Well, the Rock's in the guy's office trying to steal the key when she comes knocking. So he pretends like he's Nilo, and they have some bantering back and forth. And that's all fun. I will say, just to jump on this, I don't know about you, Dan. I thought the chemistry between him and her was good.
It was good. Yeah,
it was good. I don't think it was great. It's not the best chemistry I've ever seen, but I thought it worked for me.
It's not. I do what I call the Star Wars chemistry. Is it like was it Harrison Ford and
Carrie Fisher,
or is it Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman?
Well, I think it's
completely like and they're kind of like more towards the Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher.
I think so. I think it was more towards that side of it for sure. Super Wayne, welcome in. But I do like the fact that when they're there, he's pretending like he's Nilo and he's working out a deal with her to get this boat. And she's like, I'll pay you 15. He goes, no, I want 20. She goes, all right, well, 10. And then he goes, all right, well, 12. They come to a deal. But then that's when they find out that Nilo comes up with the brother. Hey, look, I've got my Nilo here. He wants to take us. And it's just funny because now she can't trust Dwayne Johnson's character at all because everything he says is a lie. But she literally says, again, this is one of my favorite lines too. She looks at him and goes, can I trust anything you say? And he goes, no, nothing.
Nope. And then a cheetah comes into the restaurant.
I'll let you explain the cheetah.
Now, when I first watched this, I was just like, why on earth is a cheetah just walking through this bar? Like, what? And like, Frank, who's Dwayne Johnson's character, actually has a fight with this cheetah. Oh, sorry, it's a leopard.
It's a leopard, yeah.
Fight with this leopard in the middle of the bar. And it's funny because Frank ordered a steak, and then that's the way of getting rid of the leopard. He throws the steak out the window.
He saves her life. He saves her life because the leopard was going to attack her.
Really?
And the leopards and he saved her life and got rid of the leopard. But once they all get on the boat,
was the leopard really going to attack her? Because once they get on the boat, right? Frank's just in the cargo hold, and there's this bull that keeps going up and down. And we find out that actual leopard is actually Frank's pet.
Yeah, it's his pet.
Again,
he planned it, and it was all part of it. So it was just funny. It's actually really good. And we skipped some things because some things are action that's in the movie, but it's not necessarily part of the plot. Like
the escape.
They escape because the German is coming to. Remember, the German is trying to look for the same thing. He's looking for the tears of the moon because he feels, and he's right technically, that if he has that and he can heal all their soldiers, they'll win the war. And I think he probably is right.
Is he Belloc from Indiana Jones?
That's exactly what. Well, absolutely, yeah. It's again, you're right. It's the same thing, but it's the Germans again trying to find a way to win the war, and he technically is right because if he does get his hands on the tears of the moon and he can cure his wounded or dead soldiers if they can come back to life, it kind of makes him unbeatable. So I think he's got a point. I don't think he's delusional in this. I think he does have a point because we'll find out just how well that Tears of the Moon works later. So yeah, the Germans are there. They try to destroy the boat, but they're unsuccessful and they do get away. And that's a whole nice little, in my opinion, Dan, I don't know how you feel. I like that action sequence. It's a little over the top for sure.
Yeah, the German is like sitting on top of the submarine with a gun and he's making noises. Like, I'm just like, really?
Why are the Germans always the bad guys? Because they are the bad guys. They are. World War I and World War II, they were the bad guys. At least from our point of view, they were. Anyway, what was I going to say next? So yeah, they get away, and this is where we get a little bit of character development between Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson, where they kind of start to talk, and the chemistry starts to build for me as they're going down the river. And the brother is just he's the comedy throughout the entire thing, with his being fish out of water. I like the one scene where he comes up and he's fully dressed and he looks fantastic, and she goes, "Aren't you going to be hot in that?" And he goes, "No, I'm fine." And the next scene, he's sweating to death. He's got half his clothes off, and he's like dying. He says, "What does he say? My eyeball." He says, "My eyeballs are sweating." I thought he was. It's just, again, it's all about presentation, and they did a good job with it. Miss Sugar Cookie, welcome in. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. But a lot of good one-liners in this movie throughout. So Dan, do you want to take a little bit from here, or do you want me to keep going? You can take it.
Yeah, I mean, we do get a lot of character development here. We're trying to sort of see how much Lily is going to trust Frank on this cruise. Obviously, they find out about the leopard. And yeah, there's sort of that back and forth.
Well, it's true because every time you think she's going to trust him, he does something to lose the trust again every single time.
Yeah,
every single time. Yeah, it's really good. And again, remember, they're being chased the entire time by the German to see who can get there first. Now, the German really doesn't know where to go. He kind of does, but he kind of doesn't. And but somehow they're always there, and that part I was kind of weirded out about. But and again, I watched this, but I was kind of half doing some other stuff and half watching it. But this is where I get a little foggy. And anybody in the chat, you're more than welcome to correct me. Dan, please correct me if I'm wrong. We do get the full backstory of where they come from. Okay, what he was looking for, what the Spaniard was looking for. Again, he was looking to cure his daughter. They found it, but the village that had it wouldn't give it up. At first, he was content, and then he got impatient, and he killed everybody in this village. And then, just on his last breath, the village master or king or whatever you want to call him put a curse on them all, and they couldn't go away from the river, if I'm not mistaken. If they went too far inland, the river would pull them back.
Yeah.
Okay. All of them would be pulled back. And that's the curse would pull them back. Yes. They couldn't go into it any further. And that was his way of cursing them from being able to get the tears of the moon. Yeah. So the Rock is telling this story like he knows the story. And he knows it firsthand.
You know, almost in too much detail.
Yeah, almost in too much detail. Well, it comes to find out he's one of the original Spaniards from back in the 1500s that was cursed.
Yeah.
Now, they don't really, and again, somebody in the chat or Dan, if I missed it, they don't really explain why he's not. See, all the other Spaniards, the 3 other Spaniards look deformed. One of them is made of honey and bees, and the other one is made of snakes, and the other one is made of mud and dirt from the ground and stuff like that. But for some reason, the Rock is normal. He's human. He looks fine.
He's a rock.
I guess.
He's a rock.
That was good. Hey, I'm not taking your jokes for granted. Not at all. But
just find a joke that's a bit stronger than that one.
I'll try. But that's what he is. He is also one of the 4 cursed. We find out there were 4, not 3, 4 cursed Spaniards. He was part of that group. And he's over 400 years old, and he's been trying to find the tears of the moon himself. But as time went on, he kind of gave up. And he thought, well, I'm just going to need to make the best of it. And that's when he started doing the Jungle Cruise.
Which is interesting because he's also the curator of the maps. And
yes, which I thought was a good plot twist.
It's a good plot twist. He was the curator of the maps, which one of the maps Lily had. And so she found out that he was the one who was making the maps that she's been following. So when Lily was like, oh, no, we're going to go down the rapids, Frank was like, no, we're not going down there. And it was right because, he knows everything.
Thanks, Megan. Yeah, exactly. But we don't know that at the time. When we first get it, we're like, okay, well, I just thought, because again, that was a really good twist. I didn't realize he was one of the Spaniards. That really got me. I was like, oh, cool. I like that twist. I just thought he wanted to go down because he's gone down those rivers so many times he just knows. And that was the case, but it's because he's 400 years old. Dan sounds like me right now. Are you sick too?
It's just allergies and hay fever. Like it's just
bad. I guess that's kind of sick. But
it's fine.
So then we get to this one area where again they're going down the river and they are attacked by this tribe. I thought this was funny. I really thought this was funny, and we're thinking, oh my gosh, they're attacked by this tribe. They get the darts in them, the tranquilizer darts that knock you out. And it knocked them all out, including Frank. And they're taken up to this tribe, and he's talking to this tribe in their native language. And then the whole thing is a ruse. The woman talks perfect English, and she's like, Frank, I'm not doing this anymore. We got to dress up in all these costumes for no reason, blah, blah, blah. And it's really funny. And again,
this character is actually a famous character from the Jungle Cruise. This is Trader Sam. This is the character where, you could swap, 2 of her heads for one of yours. This is a classic line. And, I think it was great actually having a woman play this part. I think it was really, really great that we had that as an option. There needed to be more of a, female present in this film. So it was great to have such an iconic Jungle Cruise role being played by this actress. So fantastic.
It was funny. I thought it was just great the way they did it. Again, they had me going until he started talking, and then he put the subtitles in. And then I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then it was when she comes down and says, Frank, we're tired of doing this. We don't want to be dressing up in all these costumes all the time. You never pay us, or whatever she said. It was hilarious. I thought it was funny. George Priestley. What's up, George? Welcome in, bud. They didn't even have to change her name. No, they didn't.
Nope.
I thought it was funny. But anyway, so they're there and they're talking about the tears of the moon, and they have the arrow, what have you. And that's when we kind of get the bad guys, the Spaniards, show up, and they're looking for the same thing.
They've been released by
the
German.
Yes, we didn't really talk about that, but during all this, the German goes to where the 3 Spaniards are cursed, and they need to have the water from the river to be freed. Not freed from the curse, just freed from the binds that they were in. And he does that. He frees them. So now they can get out and they can attack. And that's what they do. They come to this village where the Rock and all them are, and they attack them to try to get the arrowhead.
Yeah.
And at first, when you're first watching the movie, you know, the Rock gets stabbed and he falls down, and it looks like he falls to his death. And then that's when we find out who he really is.
We all knew he wasn't going to die.
No, but it looks like it at first, because at least for me, I'm like, wow, he's either really, really hurt or something's going on. It didn't dawn on me that he could be one of the Spaniards that was cursed. It just, for me, it didn't. Kyle Lee, welcome in. Good to see you. And that's when we find out about him. And they get away. The brother gets hurt, but they do get away. But ultimately, this is where and again, I'm kind of jumping around, gang. I'm sorry. And Dan, please jump in. This is where the German gets the item, doesn't it?
Yep.
Isn't this where he gets it?
Yep.
Right? And I think it is. No, actually, no, he doesn't get it. I'm sorry. They get away. They get away because that's when just him and her are going down, and she has to go in the water because this whole time, remember, she doesn't like to swim. She can't swim. So they do get away, but the brother gets captured. That's what it is. The brother doesn't get away. He gets captured by the German in his submarine, but the Rock and Emily Blunt, they do get away, and they get to where they need to get, and she has to go in the water. He does it first, but he's too big. They need someone small to get inside. And I like that part. I like the way they made her face her fear with the water. And I'll let you explain. Do you remember that part explain what happens with that part, what she has to do?
She had to dive down to this underwater sort of crevice thing to put the arrow into some form of contraption or something?
Well, she had to pull the thing. They knew that instead of going up, they needed to go down.
Go down. So
when he went down, he saw that it was a contraption that needed to be pulled to kind of open the drains, so to speak. But he couldn't do it. He was too big. He needed someone smaller. So that's where she had to do it. But she had to trust him. And remember, she doesn't trust him yet. Every time she tries to trust him, he breaks the trust. So they go down there, and she goes inside, and she starts to pull the thing. But while she walks, she presses on something that encloses her in. And remember, she's underwater. She's got no way out. So she's trying to pull this thing, and every time she tries to pull the thing, the Rock's got to go up, take a breath of air, come down, and give her air to keep her alive. And she's pulling and pulling and pulling, and finally she pulls it, but she's running out of air. Well, the Rock gets attacked by these piranha, and he can't die anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But he's delayed from getting her the oxygen. And even though the water's receding, it wasn't fast enough. And again, it looks like she might have died, but she doesn't. He revives her or helps revive her. But that was another cool scene. I like the way they did that.
See, I'm the complete opposite. I think this was probably one of the worst scenes of the movie for me.
Really? Oh, I didn't mind it.
Because she made out such a big deal that she can't swim, she can't do any of that. If you can't swim, there is no way she could have spent that amount of time underwater. She would have been panicking. She would have been, struggling to even put her head under the water. And it's just, I don't know, there was something about it that just seemed really off. It looked like they were in a pool. I'm not going to lie. It didn't look real to me.
Really? I didn't mind it.
I really did not enjoy this scene at all. If this was reality, I know it's not. It's a movie, a really fictitious movie. But the amount of times she said she can't swim, and the amount of times Frank has mocked her for not swimming.
Mm-hmm.
for her to be that good at swimming, like to keep herself afloat, to keep herself sort of, calm during that, I don't quite buy it.
No, I agree. I mean, in that respect, I think you're right. I think that would have been a little bit. You're right. She would have probably panicked a lot quicker. But it's a movie. I agree with you. I mean, the reality of her being that calm when she starts to run out of air. I can swim, and I can tell you right now, if I started to run out of air, I wouldn't have been calm.
Everyone would be panicking.
So I get what you're saying there, but ultimately the water does drain, and there's this, they said how water turns to rock, and that's how it turns to rock, because when they drain it, there's this underground city.
Yeah, the whole thing turns into the Rock, so you just see statues of Dwayne Johnson
everywhere. It's everywhere.
That's why you've got the Rock's face in the thumbnail of this video.
Right, exactly. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. But when they hey, Reese Nunn, welcome in. Good to see you. The thing about it is, when they drained it, who was waiting? The submarine was there. Now, how they didn't see the submarine when they went under the water in the first place is beyond me. But
yeah,
that's the one that I didn't see. You're right, this giant submarine's there, and the whole time they're underwater, they never saw it either A, coming in, or B, that just didn't see it under the water. That's the one that got me.
Or hear it.
Right, exactly. So this 400-year-old zombie Spaniard is okay. Person doesn't panic, believes, defies belief. Got it. Right, exactly. Well, it's all part of it. I agree. I mean, it's all right. I mean, we can nitpick wherever we want. You're right. I mean, we believe the 400-year-old zombie, but we don't believe she's not going to panic underwater. No, exactly. I mean, we can pick the whole thing apart if we want. You're right, Will. Absolutely. But I think what we're getting at is some things are a little bit more. I can disbelief a little bit more. I understand that he's cursed. That's the point of the 400-year-old Spaniard. And I'm with you. I didn't mind the scene with the water. But I did like, Dan, that, again, they were put in a position where the German says to them, look, I got the brother. Give me the pedal or I'm going to kill him. And that's kind of where we were. I got to let the dog out. I'll let you talk for a minute on the next part. Be right back.
See, Walt said that I've got to do the next part, but I saw this film like 2 weeks ago and I can't remember I can't remember. But yeah, that's pretty much what it's about. And yeah. No, I was just joking. I was just saying, I saw this over 2 weeks ago. I really can't remember what was next.
Well, what happens next is they get to the area where you have the Tears of the Moon. There's actually one inside of that arrowhead. Well, they get to the Tree of Life, where the Tree of Life is, but they need that first one in the moon to bring it to life. Now, remember, the moon's only going to be shining for so long, so they only have so long for these petals. These petals, because all the petals, if you put one in your mouth and you're hurt, got a cut, whatever, it heals you. So there's this whole tree full of them, but you only have a certain amount of time to get them before the moon goes away, and then they're all gone again. Yeah. So that's where we were. We're at this point where they're going in there, and the two of them have to go up, and only one of them can get a petal. So the other one's got to use the petal to save themselves, and the other one has to die. That was the German's deal. One of you are going to die. You can save either yourself or the other one. It's up to you. So the Rock says, well, you can kill me, save yourself, Emily Blunt. Of course, the German guy doesn't know that, but that's how they do it. And ultimately, this is where it gets a little weird for me at the very end, and I'll tell you why. So they there, and they go up, and they have this big fight scene now. The other three Spaniards are there. The Germans there. They're all trying to get the Tears of the Sun, and the moon's starting to set. Is going away, far enough away that the tree is starting to die. And then there's only one petal left, and she saves it just in time. She picks it off the tree just at the last second. And all this time, while she's doing that, the Rock is kind of distracting the other three Spaniards. Yeah. He's fighting them. And what he's going to do is he's ultimately going to crash into the side of this mountain. And this is where it gets weird for me. And anybody in the chat, maybe you can understand something that I missed. Because the German guy ultimately, he dies. He gets crushed by a boulder. that falls on him.
It's something out of Looney Tunes,
Right.
really.
But the rock crashes with the other 3 Spaniards as he's fighting them into the side of this mountain. And then all of a sudden, the 3 guys, because I guess they're too far away from the river, they get sucked in again, and they become stone. Well, this time the rock does too. And I didn't understand that. I'm like, well, all these other times he's never been sucked back in and never became like they were, where they were entombed in the earth. Why was he this time? Can you explain
I know
that?
why.
Why?
Why? Because it's like every movie thing that's ever happened. It's the heroic sacrifice, that they all do. I'll take one for the team, and then I will die for you. And then they come back 2 minutes later.
Well, that's fine. I get that. Again, these stories are going to be used over and over. That I get. What I don't get is what was different this time that the earth sucked him in that it never sucked him in before.
There's no explanation for that.
That's what I didn't understand. I got what he was doing, and I was fine. Okay, he's sacrificing himself. We've seen it a billion times.
Maybe he was never too far away from the river.
Yeah, I guess that's what Matt's saying. He wasn't always by the river until then. I guess that's why, or he wasn't far enough away from the river. Because he's always been on the river. I mean, that's what he did. He did the jungle cruise.
Probably the reason.
Yeah. I guess it was proximity that time for him. Okay.
You know what they should have had? They should have had him wear one of those, strata like things, and you can see how far he's traveled away from the river, and then we'll get a good estimate.
Well, he must have knew how far he could go. I guess. I that's all.
He had a pedometer.
Yes, exactly. Well, on your phone, you know how you can kind of track your mile. Never mind. Anyway,
The Rock has
GPS'd it. Yeah. Anyway, so what I did so he ultimately gets sucked in, and he's frozen, and he's gone, and he's dead, like the rest of them. But this time, since she had the one petal left, she takes the petal and she puts it in his mouth, and he does ultimately come back to life, and he's saved. And I guess he becomes human because at that point the curse is lifted. They don't really say how the curse got lifted. If the
curse is lifted, surely the 3 other Spaniards would be alive as well.
Well, but again, this is where I want everybody in the chat. Maybe you can explain it to me. Maybe the sacrifice is what did it. Maybe that's what lifted the curse for him and not for them. I don't know. But he was able to leave because the final scene, they're in London and they're off, and they live happily ever after. That's kind of how the story ends. But they don't really explain how it was lifted for him, but not for them. And we don't really see what happened to the other 3 Spaniards. So that part was kind of the end of this. Really kind of, it was too bad. I wasn't really happy with the whole ending. That's just, but that's it. That's how it ends. He does live. She saves him. She gives him the last petal. They go live off in London, and they live happily ever after. So there you go.
There you go.
And again, that's a very quick version. Oh, you didn't see that. And that's not my grade. That's why I'm going in there. I'm going in there to change it. Right now, I got to change it.
While you're changing it, shall I explain what they're going to do in the chat?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. So now that we've reviewed the movie, this is now the time that you guys are going to go and get involved with the show. What we're going to ask you to do, Walt and I are going to ask you to vote on a letter grade, which we grade all of our movies down from an A+, all the way down to an F. So A+ being the best movie, and F being the worst. Both Walt and I have given A+ and Fs on this show. C is like your bog standard benchmark, but we would like to know from you in the chat, what would you grade this film from an A+ down to an F? And tell us why. We want to know
why.
What what you really thought and what grade you'd give it.
Yes, that's important. You can give us a letter grade, but let us know why you give it the letter grade you give it too. We're going to come to you guys in a second. You can start putting them in the chat. We're going to read them all one by one. Dan, you're up, buddy. Let's do. How about we do this today? Your favorite scene,
right?
Your favorite character, and then your grade.
Okay. Should I do my review first and then those?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Okay. I'm going to be really honest here, and people are not going to like this. So when I go to Magic Kingdom, Jungle Cruise is never sort of the one that is a must do for me. Never is. Like it's just one that you look. I love my dad jokes. Like hearing Walt's dad jokes is like, a blessing for me because I love them so much. But the ride is like it's quite sort of underwhelming for me, and this is exactly how I felt about the movie. I really was not a fan of this film. This film had way too much CGI off, really poor CGI. Like none of the animals used in the film were real. Everything felt like you were on a set on a green screen. I thought the acting was pretty good. I didn't like the villain at all. I didn't like the storyline with the Spaniards. I think it was so predictable. That's why I said it's a lot like The Mummy and Pirates of the Caribbean. Like this is just a rinse and repeat from those films. I just really did not enjoy really any of that. Dwayne Johnson's character reminds me of the character from The Mummy. I can't remember his name. The actor. He's really exciting. Brendan Fraser. He reminds me of Brendan Fraser from The Mummy. And I just really was not as big of a fan as I thought this would be. I don't know. I got quite bored between the second and third act. That sort of water scene really put me off it. The only thing redeeming really was the chemistry between Frank and Lily, as well as the comedy from Jack Whitehall. And that, apart from that, I was not overly impressed, really, to be honest with you.
Okay.
My favorite scene was the opening scene with The Rock doing the Jungle Cruise spiel. Like that is exactly what this movie should have been: a cruise through the jungle with bad jokes. Like this is exactly what it should have been, not a rinse to repeat. My favorite character, Dwayne Johnson. Frank as the character. I would say Jack Whitehall is a close second as McGregor. That's me just being biased, being British. But I really enjoyed the Rock's approach. Not so much his character, but I really enjoyed his performance. And my grade. I've been going backward and forward on this. I'm not going to be that harsh, but I'm going to give it a D.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
D. Oh, no, not at all. All right. I want to see some more people now. We've got like 25 people watching right now. I've only seen a few reviews. Put your grades in there. All right, Daniel, let's start. I'll give mine after we go through everybody else's, and then we'll finish up. All right. So the first one I see is Matt.
Yep. C-. It was entertaining, but a lot of plot holes. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Sarah Bush says, B+. It was a great movie, but it's not like I could watch it on repeat every day like some other movies. Makes me laugh and reminisce of the ride. Brilliant.
Okay.
Reese, she said, Reese says, I give it a B- because they didn't really explain how he was able to escape the curse, but the great acting helped the movie overall. Yeah, I actually agree with that.
Okay.
Therese gives it a C-. Was a little confusing at times, kept me wondering. Will gives it a B-. It is like if a movie embodied a ride and didn't mind the CGI, but I just didn't enjoy Jack Whitehall. That's fair enough. I prefer Jack Whitehall's more, edgier stuff if you're from Britain.
Yeah.
Well, Simba says Whitehall was funnier than The Rock.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Debbie Buffer says I give it a C+. It was okay, not great a movie. I think the plot should have been better. I totally agree. Megan gives it a C-. I was bored.
Okay.
Me too. And Bowser Jr. Bricks 1, C-. I liked it, but I thought some parts were pretty boring.
There you go.
So I think a lot of us are on the same page, really.
Yeah. Well, for me, here's my review. I'll give you this. I went into this movie thinking, I went in with low expectations. I did. I just went in with low expectations. What I had saw from the previews and things like that, it didn't look like it was going to be that good. There's Karen. Let's do Karen real fast here.
Yep. Karen says, I give it a B. I wanted to love this movie, but I found some of it a little slow. I love the actual Jungle Cruise part of the movie. I did enjoy Frank and Lily and the brother.
There you go. I went in with low expectations. So already I was down here for what I was expecting to have. I laughed a lot in this movie. I think a lot of the jokes, whether it was the brothers' jokes or Frank's jokes, just different scenes really made me chuckle. The dad jokes were off the top great to me. I agree with you. My favorite scene was the beginning when he was doing the Jungle Cruise and doing all the putts. And then the one time he said to the brother, he goes, yeah, I used to date this girl that was cross-eyed, but we didn't see eye to eye. I thought she was seeing somebody on the side. I just thought that was funny.
He's still cracking up now, folks.
I'm still cracking up. So those really made me laugh, which was good. Because that's the whole point of a comedy. It's supposed to make you laugh. This one succeeded in that, in a lot of different aspects. I wasn't expecting a Godfather type story and screenplay, okay? I expected plot holes. I just didn't want the plot holes to be at the end for me. The CGI is over the top. Absolutely. It seemed like a ton of this was done CGI, which is too bad. I think they could have filmed a little bit more out in the jungle for sure. I actually liked the movie. I didn't mind it at all. But again, I went in with low expectations. It exceeded my expectations. My favorite scene, again, is the scene with the Jungle Cruise part in the beginning. My favorite character is actually The Rock's character. I think he's a relatively serviceable actor. I know Steve hates him. He thinks he's the worst actor in the world. I don't think he is. Is he going to win an Academy Award? No. But I think he's a serviceable actor. He is entertaining. Overall, I think this movie is okay. Should they have a sequel? No. I don't think this movie needs to go on.
Please, no.
I don't think there should be a sequel to this, though.
No.
So for me, I gave it a
Drum roll.
C+. I didn't mind it. It exceeded my expectations. So I got to give it a C+. I
like it. I like it. You said exceeded.
Yeah, exceeded. That was good. Yeah, and that was a pun. I didn't mean to do it. Anyway, that's my grade on it. I'm giving it a C+. I enjoyed it. I know Melissa enjoyed it. We laughed a lot during this movie. The story itself was okay, but they had too many plot holes. I didn't mind the story they were telling, just too many plot holes here and there, and it could get confusing at times. I agree with everybody in that respect. Well, let's go back in here for a minute. Will's got an addendum. He says it would get a higher grade if I was watching the movie with Wallace. He would raise the mood.
I agree. I agree.
I was the same way. Went in with low expectations and started cracking up with the ride jokes. Brought someone who never went on a Jungle Cruise and they didn't really get it. Exactly. Well, that's the truth. Look, that's the truth.
I'll say this. I think we could all agree in the chat that we'd all rather sit with Walt on the Jungle Cruise ride than we would watching this movie. Let's be fair here.
I would love to be a skipper.
Even if the skipper was not the best skipper in the world, like it would just be such a funny cruise because I know that the jokes would still hit.
Oh, for sure. We would have a blast. We'll have to do that one time. That'd be fun.
Oh, that'd be either, you know what, as a stream, like, you know, when you were challenge streams, I think we should just keep doing the Jungle Cruise the whole time.
We should do that. It's a good idea.
And every time, like, they're about to do the spiel, you should go, like, you should do it in time with the skipper. It's like, take the stone for granite.
It's one of our bolder attractions.
Side of water.
I like when he says, what else he says, you're all outstanding. Now I need you all outstanding on the dock.
AKA get off.
No, really, get out.
Get out.
Oh my God, it's so funny. Anyway,
that reminded me of this. Do you remember in the Festival of the Lion King, right at the end, where Timon tells everybody to get out of the theater? Yeah. Now, please get out.
Get out. I know. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Anyway.
All right, Daniel, we've come to that moment, folks. Here we go. We're going to do drum roll. Everybody at home, I need a drum roll from you as we pick for next week on Dan's channel, Thursday, 5 p.m. We will be doing our next movie review. We haven't had
Pixar, Marvel
in a while. In a while, it's been.
We had The Last Jedi last week.
Yeah,
then we were on a little bit of an animation roll with things like Peter Pan and Snow White. So it'd be nice to do maybe a Pixar or a Marvel or something like that. All right, drum roll, please. Here we go.
I like singing. I can't help it.
Okay.
Oh Lord, here we go.
I remember seeing this film in the cinema, the movie theater, a long time ago. And we will see. Next week's movie says Narnia 1. So we're watching Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
The first one?
The first one.
Good
Chronicles
pick.
of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Another live action film. I'm looking forward to this one. I'm looking forward to watching The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So, and that will be next week on my channel.
Yes, that's one. Go watch this film, folks. Go watch it. That's all I'll say. Probably already given away my review, but go watch this film. No, we're gonna have fun. Next week,
everyone brings their Turkish delight.
Yes, it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to watch that again. It's been a while. I have seen it a couple times, and it'll be great to kind of go back and revisit those characters and that story.
Yep.
Because that's actually got a little bit of a biblical connotation to it in a lot of ways.
I think
it directly does.
James McAvoy is in this film.
Yeah, he is. He's Mr. Tumbas, or whatever his name is.
Mr. Tumbas.
Yeah.
Because Sarah Bush brings up that she realized that Mr. Tumbas was the same guy from Split. And by the way, the film Split is such a good movie. Oh, it's so good. It's one of my favorite thriller films.
Actually, I'm going to talk to you for a minute offline about another film. Anyway, gang, there you go. That is our Disney movie review for this week. Next week, 5 p.m. Thursday on Dan's channel. Please join us, guys. If you haven't already subscribed to Dan's channel, please do so. He's one of our partner channels. We love him. Former cast member. He's going to be back in Disney in December. Can't wait to see him. It's going to be a ton of fun. Please check out Dan's channel. Are you getting closer? Are you over 2K yet?
Oh, yeah. I've been over 2K for a year and a half.
Right.
2 years,
Are you at 2,500?
No idea.
All right. Well, let's get Daniel close to 2,500.
I'm not gonna lie. I have not seen my subscriber count in
All right, buddy, Daniel, for sure. Also, just a quick thing again. Remember Dean over at the Live Place. Check out theliveplace.com for family-friendly streams. Our other partner channels, besides this wonderful person right here, is Steve's World, Diz Our Dream, who I think is live right now, and Pete McDevitt. Diz Our Dream. Thursday, Saturday, Sundays, Steve on Mondays, Pete McDevitt every day of the week. As for us, Daniel, well, let me ask you got anything coming up on the channel? Anything you're going to be doing?
So there could be the second episode of Disney Fights this weekend.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah.
Now, if you don't know, this is my brand new show, which took over Disney Fiasco, which was my main show that I'd been going for a couple of years. I did over 140 episodes. But this is my new show where you see all of our wonderful Disney community for an hour and a half, just have a complete row and argument with each other. It is nothing you see on YouTube. It is something unique. It is something different. It ain't streaming. Look, there's nothing wrong with streaming from the past. Love streaming from the past. But if you want something different, something new, something, let's be fair, hilarious.
It is.
Come watch Disney Fights. If you missed last time's Disney Fights, go check it out on my channel. Walt was on there with my buddy Rob Fuzz and Disney World Freak Carlos. And I kid you not, I haven't laughed that hard for so long. It was great. And it's great. So come check it out. Hopefully this weekend, if I get it all planned, ready to go, Disney Fights Saturday is 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Daniel. I hope you had a good time. I'm the only one calling Daniel, by the way, everybody.
Yeah. Walt's like my YouTube father. He is.
You're probably old enough to be his father, too. As for us, we will be live Saturday morning from Disney's Hollywood Studios. And then Sunday night, we'll be live Sunday night. Jeff and Angela are going live Sunday morning from Magic Kingdom. They're going to start the day at Magic Kingdom. We're going to end the day at Magic Kingdom on Sunday. So join us Sunday night from Magic Kingdom, Saturday morning from Hollywood Studios. And I think I might have something really, I don't want to give it away just yet, but I think something really big for July, coming up in July. I'm going to give you a little bit more information as we get a little bit closer, but something big for July, the whole month of July. So be prepared for that. It's going to be fun. Other than that, Dan, it's been great, buddy. For the good of all Cree.
For the good of all Cree.
Everyone, have a great week. We will see you next week. Hopefully, we'll see you Saturday on Dan's channel and throughout the weekend for the streams. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.